Hey Tony, it's McLean. Your summer's going well so far. Um, so the one word that I would use to describe my experience in class would probably be curious. Um, I'm still very interested in learning about what we learned about. Uh, I think that a semester's it seems like a long time, but it's not really that long of a time to learn about something like this. So I hope that I can in the future someday uh, try to study leadership ethics and moral leadership again. I don't know about reading something like Plato's Republic or anything like that, but I do hope that I can study moral leadership at some point in my life again, maybe in law school. So, in terms of the class and what I took away, what I'm going to take away, I would say that the biggest thing. So I'm glad that we ended with Frank Underwood and studying him because I've been watching House of Cards since my freshman year, and I hope that I would never become something like Frank Underwood, but I do think that it's important to study and important to understand why Frank is the way that he is and uh, how he got into power and how he ties into moral leadership. So I'm very glad that our praxis was about Frank Underwood as well. So in studying Frank Underwood, I'd say that the most applicable thing to him would be the faces of evil, and there's different points on there. So when I think of Frank Underwood, the first thing that I think of is cunning, but conniving, coercion, things like that, and obviously not a good thing to be thinking about, I guess. But he sort of fits the role of all of these evils that we talked about, all these faces of evil, and he seems to derive pleasure from it. And as the series goes on, I think that Frank gets more and more pleasure, and he starts mixing pleasure with his work, and I think that that's something that it's kind of scary that I've heard that Bill Clinton said that most of the things on House of Cards are accurate, and I just hope that's not true. I hope that he was just kidding about that because that'd be terrifying if that's true. Uh, but anyway, yeah. So continuing with the faces of evil, um, yeah, the way that Frank goes about his life. One particular scene, and this is later on, he's talking to a U.S. Supreme Court justice, and he's trying to get him to step down for reasons that are pretty bad. And he looks at the camera, he breaks the fourth wall, and he says, "Must I destroy this man?" And the fact that that's even a choice, and he ends up saying, "No, I won't." But the fact that that's even a choice to Frank Underwood is pretty terrifying. I would say that another big thing that I got out of the class would be the class discussions. I mean, that's what made it. That's what made the class. And whether we were talking about our current student body president or the uh, the guy with the Nazi regalia that came on campus, being in class was always a pleasure because I knew that I was surrounded by some of the smartest individuals at UF and individuals that truly care about their classmates and what their classmates are thinking. So I hope that I meet people like that in the future um, wherever I go, and I'm always able to think about well, what would Tony think about this situation? What would my friends in AEC 4932 think about this? And I'd say that another big takeaway is when something big happens in America, like some big decision is made. I think that I'll always, from now on, view it from a moral leadership standpoint. And in my opinion, the term moral is pretty fluid because my morals are not the same as someone else's. So Obviously, I'll be imposing my own morals on those particular situations. But that's another big takeaway from this class. Thank you so much, Tony, and have a great summer.